after the IRC. Yeah, he's justified by with my own projects. That's why that's probably adjacent. Yeah. I don't really understand how well on the side, so yeah. Do the same thing we have. Yeah, but I think this is what I said. Up to you. 1 minute. Yeah. There should be time. By the way, Junction, we're going to run 5 minutes.
When I read and sleeping and it's very deep in and then it's very important to get out of that. Yeah. So we go all the big stuff. And then that way
Well, welcome back after the break, and we now have Dr. Phibul Choompolpaisal, and he is really an immensely important scholar because, of course, he is Thai. He works with the manuscripts that Kate was talking about, and he's got an immense experience of scholarship, both East and West, and he's now Dean of Mahidol University after being at King's for several years. And when he was given awards by the Sangharaja, the head of the Thai Sangha and the royal family in Thailand, I realized he was a very modest person because he said, I'm not accepting it for myself, I'm accepting it for my college, King's College. So this was a very interesting quality to me. And I'm really looking forward to your talk.
Okay, thank you, Sarah Shaw, for great introduction, and certainly he knows me better than myself. So, and thank you the organizer for organizing this event. And okay, so, and thank you all for participating. So okay, today I'm going to talk about my research in progress on visualizing the Buddha in modern Thai Buddhism. Okay, so before I start, I know that most of you are scholar already, but just in case some listeners who are online, because I want to go through some these very often, like Buddha Guna. When I refer to Buddha Guna, I mean the virtues of the Buddha, so something like being omniscient, possessing wisdom, purity, compassion, those sort of things. When I use the term buddhānussati, so I mean the recollection of the Buddha. So these two terms are actually a kind of terms that I found very often being used in manuscript that I've been researching. And the evidence that I'm going to use for my talk today, so mostly come from something between late 16th century to early 20th century. And the talk today, some of the talk that I'm going to give today is a kind of collaboration between myself and Andrew Skewton, and I receive a lot of support and help from Kate Crosby. Okay, so just to give them kind of guidelines. So basically, my talk would cover something from textual, practical in the first part, and trying to be ending in something historical. So basically, what I'm trying to cover is two different regions, Central Siam. So when I'm talking about Central or Centralized Siam, I'm talking about, okay, I told you the map, provisional map. So I'm talking about something in from the area that used to be Ayutthaya and later on became part of Thonburi and Bangkok or Lanna period. And I'm trying to cover something up there in the north, which is Lanna, and which is now northern Thai region. I cover a little bit about Lanchang, which is now Lao nowadays. So basically, I'm just trying to cover all of this from textual, practical to historical aspect of the talk. Okay. Okay, so just want to start with Donald Sweller. So he already wrote a book on the consecration of the Buddha image. And in the book that he wrote, so he used textual evidence, a kind of manuscript dating 16th century. So, for example, the text on Buddha Abhisek or consecrating the Buddha image was dated 1576. So according to his research, so the when we have the construction of the Buddha image, so participants would recite litany or text, and through a kind of recitations of text, so the participants would recall the qualities of the Buddha, including, for example, omniscience, purity, and compassion. And another part, participants would also recall what Sweller called Dhammakaya, the Dhammakaya of the Buddha. According to him, he translated as the eternal body of Dhamma, so which is assimilating the physical body of the Buddha, so which is Rupakaya. So we have the terminology Dhammakaya, the Dhamma body, and the Rupakaya, which is physical body of the Buddha. So participants are actually recalling both physical and Dhamma aspect of the Buddha. So from Twilight research, we can see some kind of relationship between the text or litany, and they are actually being used for buddhānussati or for the recollection of the Buddha. And so I cover a little bit that practitioner did some meditation during consecration of the Buddha image, but not quite a lot. But so basically through recitation, they're actually helpful for meditation, at least at a basic level. And the reason why I cover the term Dhammakaya here, because actually when I did research and I found the term from time to time as it's being used in litany for recitation, consecration of the Buddha image, and also for the recollection of the Buddha. So apart from Sweller, we have a few other scholars. I think okay, Crosby has already mentioned, Malasat, Walker, and Kasem. So basically, they've done the work to research on Dhammakaya text, and which are used for constructing the Buddha image, consecrating the Buddha image, and for buddhānussati. So again, practitioner recollect the Buddha Dhammakaya or the body of Dhamma, as well as the physical characteristics of the Buddha. And in some of the manuscripts that I found, so it's pretty clear that the practitioners would use the Dhammakaya text for recalling the Dhamma aspect of the Buddha, and they use Lakkhana Sutta. And in Thai manuscript, there are quite a few manuscripts. They don't name the titles are not Lakkhana Sutta, but the title of something like Buddha Kuna manuscript. But it has a contents of Lakkhana Sutta. So basically, if we have together Dhammakaya text and Lakkhana Sutta, so the participants are recollecting the Buddha's physical and Dhamma body. Okay, so this is just to give an overview of the recollection of the Buddha. So this is example of the Dhammakaya text. So you can see that the Dhammakaya is explained as something from the head, which is representing knowledge of omniscience, for example. So I'm not going to get through all the details. So just want to show you that the Dhammakaya text represent trying to explain how each part of the body representing the Dhamma of the Buddha. And when it's used together with Lakkhana Sutta, the Buddha is represented as having 32 marks. So the practitioner recollecting both the Dhamma and physical attributes of the Buddha. Okay, so quite a few research has been done on this, and I'm going to come back to this with the inscription, the Dhammakaya inscription dating 1549, and two other important inscriptions that I'm going to look at today, which give us some clues to get to understand what actually happened, why all these texts seem to be disappearing. Okay. So now I actually start my research with what manuscript advanced what Ratchasittaram. So this manuscript is in the collection of the Sankalat or Supreme Patriarch Sukai. So we are talking about the dating between mid-18th to early 19th century. So up there we have available Sukai, the Supreme Patriarch, and his lineage, and this is available Vila, lineage holder, whom I asked a lot of questions, and he actually helped me understand many things in the text. Okay, in the case of what Ratchasittaram in Thonburi, what I found is that according to Venerable Vila, there are 13 stages of meditation cycle. So things starting from piti or joy, yukala, peace, sukha, happiness, anapanasati, kayakata, tasina, blah blah blah, up to alupachana. So the Buddha Guna is in the first three stages, so piti, yukala, and sukha. Okay, so when we're talking about piti, we're talking about 5 piti, 5 states of joy or delight or pleasure, and 6 yukala, 6 pairs of entry levels, 2 sukha samadhi or 2 advanced levels of temporary concentration. Okay, just want to show you some of the verses being used. So this is translation. I will cultivate the virtues of the Buddha with the intention to invoke their 5 honorable majesties, the essential entities of delight. We refer to the term used in Thai, Piti Tamajao. Okay, and then may I invoke to appear for me their 5 honorable majesties, the essential entities of delight, Piti Tamajao again. So what I just want to explain to you is that when practitioners using these litany, they actually expressing their intention, their goal for each stage of meditation, what they want to achieve. And in each stage of meditation, like for example, Prakriti Tamacha, is actually a kind of is one kind of phenomenal existence appearing. So it's not just the terminology being used for being or just for joy or delight. So drawing from from my research and interview with Venerable Vila and materials that I found, what I found is that when we use the term Dhamma, if we talking about standard text, we are using the term to refer to truth or teachings, something not tangible. But when we are talking about the use of the term Dhamma in pre-modern meditation or Bolan Kamatan, we are actually talking about experience subjects emerging in meditation. And these kinds of experience subjects, actually they consist of dhatus or elements. They actually something tangible. So this seem to be maybe weird to many people, but actually it is something that people actually see in meditation. So when we use the term Dhamma, actually it refers to, so I use the term Dhamma with small d because there are several stages in meditation. For example, we could use the term Piti Dhamma to mean Dhamma at Piti stage, and is something experience, tangible, emerging. So it's a kind of nimitta or form sign emerging. In Thai context, we might find other alternative terms like kaya or kaya, which means body, or duang tham, which means crystal sphere of a crystal ball, and light. Okay, so actually, for Bolan Kamatan, Dhamma is a kind of entities to be seen at different stages. So a kind of phenomenal existence that practitioner would experience them emerging. So it's not that practitioners controlling, they're just emerging. Okay, so nimitta again is also something emerging during meditation. So now we come across the term nimitta, having two types of nimitta. The nimitta that we are actually visualizing before meditating, and the kind of nimitta which is something emerging during meditation. So we are talking about something that we are engaging, they're actually appearing. Okay, so there are several terminologies being used, for example, like piti, prakriti kamaja, or blah, blah, blah. So basically, they refer to each stage of meditation, in meditation cycle. And sometimes they use the term nimitta. And so when practitioners have experience, they have both physical and mental kind of sensations. Okay, so for Venerable Vila, we have Buddha in first three stages. And once practitioners has gone up to Sukha, and they Venerable Vila explained that practitioner would see the Buddha. So something emerging, and Venerable Vila explained that this is Dhammakaya, according to him, appearing at this stage. Okay, in the case, in Central Siam as well, we have King Taksin of Thonburi in late 18th century. So this is some of the translation that I want to provide here. So in this is from Royal Chronicle of Thonburi, 1912, I think, in British Library or British Museum, I can't remember. So basically in 1977, King Taksin blah, blah, blah. So he talked to Ratchasittaram monks about Kamatan, saying that his navel was powerful. He then asked the Ratchasittaram monks about Pralupa form and Lakkhana characteristics or mass that he saw during his meditation, and to check with available Pali manuscript. He saw Praputa Lakkhana or the characteristics or mass of the Buddha, whose kaya or body was 1 va in Thai, which means 2 meters tall. Okay, and at the end, the Sankaras confirmed that the king saw the kaya which had 32 mass of Praputa Lakkhana. Okay, and another text we have King Taksin is described as having visualized Pra Dhamma Prapudaja, which means the Dhamma of the Buddha, and at his forehead, Gunalom. Okay. So basically, from the evidence that I look at now, we have King Taksin describing his meditation experiencing the Buddha, Lupakaya, 32 miles of excellence, his height around 2 meters, so seeing the Dhamma of the Buddha. Okay, so this is something that we found. In Lanna, what we have is that we have a kind of meditation litany, which is having a kind of content and structure, which is very similar to Suk's tradition. But the important thing is that it places an emphasis on Buddha Kuna, and it's gone all the way through from beginner's level to advanced levels, from both Samatha and Vipassana, and they use the term Dhammakaya in highly advanced stages of meditation. Okay, this is something that I'm hoping to write on. And this comes from my research on Lanna manuscript between 18th century to early 20th century. So there are about 40 or 50 manuscripts that I identified for Kammatthana and manuscript on Dhammakaya, and quite a few on buddhānussati. Okay. Okay, so from the manuscript, I can see that it seemed to be popular. The Buddha Kuna practice seemed to be popular in Lanna region. So that I know that there are too many words. So just want to make a list of things just to show you, not expecting you to read this. Just to show you that there are so many things that are similar, that there's some kind of similarities between the practice in Ratchasittaram and Lanna. For example, the offering of 5 sets of lights, flowers, the sort of thing, recitation of litany expressing the intention of practitioner and the goal, and in each stage, and things to be visualizing. And the important thing is the meditation starting with piti meditation, for example. So certainly they have something different. For example, they use mala bead. I'm not going to get into detail. So I'll give you some examples of the translation provisional here. May I attain the 5 delights and access concentration. So basically, it's similar to Suk's text, starting with piti meditation, expressing intention in the verses and what they want to achieve. Okay, the translation continues. Visualizing the Buddha image, one contemplates on the physical attributes of the Buddha. So one actually trying to visualize the physical attributes of the Buddha, locating the Buddha at either the head and face and in one's mind. Okay, this is according to text. So basically, we can see the visualization of the physical attributes of the Buddha and the location of visualization. And then things carry on, going through all the Buddha Guna, Itipiso, Bhagava, blah, 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 and then ending with the recollection of the virtue of the perfection of the Dhammakaya the kind of entity that is present, located within the entity of the blessed one. Okay, so basically here we can see that towards the end of the text, we can see the Dhammakaya as being light entity being present within the Buddha. So Dhammakaya is represented at a very high level in advanced meditation. Okay, so we can see Buddha Guna literally something being standardized in terms of the structure of content, similar to other manuscripts starting with Piti Yukala Sukha. And in Buddha Guna, we have Itipiso Pakova, and they have some they have some Lanna style that are different from Venerable Vila or Succession. For example, like the text, they say like Yesan Panno or something, and they use the term Dhammakaya as light entity within the Buddha's body appearing at one of the advanced stage. Okay, so the term Dhammakaya in litany is used in the text. Okay, so I show you this. So Buddha Guna in Vipassana level. So in the text, we can say do samatha vipassana, do samatha kamata bhavana at any state. One should begin with Buddha Guna bhavana until piti samadhi appear. Blah 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 blah. And then to do Tithi Kankha Vipassana Bhavana at any stage, one should begin with Buddha Guna Bhavana until Piti Samadhi subject appears gradually. So basically, there's a kind of correlation between at Vipassana and Samatha is not totally separated. So one has to come back to do Piti again and getting to do Vipassana and coming back to make sure that they are proficient in Piti stage and doing Vipassana. Okay, we have other work by Kichai Urkasem. He looked at advanced meditators, so he covers a kind of supramudan experience. For example, like the lay of 6 colors emerging in the body of practitioners, the seeing of many Buddhas, and Nibbana at the navel. Okay, so I'm not going to cover this, but just want to just want you to recognize that we have his work looking at this as well. Okay, so now I am sort of trying to cover textual and practical from Ayutthaya, Thonburi to Lanna period. So now just want to look at something important historically. What happened to Buddha Guna? So basically, from my research, there is strong emphasis on Buddha Guna from the 16th, 17th, and 18th century in Lanna. And we found the evidence of the first evidence 1549 Dhammakaya inscription. We have the name of King Mahachakapat. His name referred to as Mahaprom. Okay, so I will give a clue later. In the inscription 1336, 1337, we have Mahaprom again. He comes up again as king of King Suriya Wongsa of Lanchang or Lao. And we have another manuscript which I haven't provided here in 1637, talking about another Mahaprom king, which refers to another king. Okay, so and another evidence that I have is that King Suriya Wongsa is mentioned in one of the Lao books published. He seems to be a kind of king who supports the meditation in the past. So why Ayutthaya king, Lao king named Mahaprom? What happened to this terminology? And why both supported meditation in some ways? Okay, so now when I look at the history of, when I look at the historical, sorry for my pronunciation. So basically when I look at the history of this, what I found is that the term prom is used to be very important. If you think about the term like Ratchasittaram or Ratchasittaram or great king, so the term prom being used in Lanna to name great king like Ratchasittaram or Thamma Racha, someone who is important ideal king in Buddhism, who would support Buddhism, who would support meditation, temples, inscription, installation, those sort of things. And we found Mahaprom, or from the first time, who was Prom of Yonok in 11th century. He was the first person who defeated the Kama in war. And that's why Lanna treated him as the first ruler that was important. So recently we have this song, the Solid we recounted. He was the establisher of the Blasa Solid passed down from generations to generations. And during that period, when the Thai nation was under the Kama's power, and Cha from Kuman was the one who drove them away from the city. Okay, so Prom was as given names for rulers, not just Prom of Yonok, and then from my research, identify 2 rulers in Lanna having this name. In Ayutthaya, we have the first king, King Balomkot, who has another alternate name, Prom. And we have the inscription King Mahachagapat. His daughter was married to King Chayachetha, and King Chayachetha, he was a king who ruled both Lanna and Lanchang from 1547 to 1551, and he was referred to in another inscription in 1637 that I mentioned. And we have King Suriyavongsa of Lao, another Prom, as offspring of King Chayachetha. So basically, there's a kind of family relation between Lanna, Ayutthaya, and Lao in between 15th to 17th century, and they used the name Prom to just a kind of royal construction of identity as a kind of great kingship. Okay, so what happened is that the name Prom as rulers in Lanna, we have this term until early 20th century. After that, there's a kind of suppression of pre-modern Lanna culture. So everything to do with the retelling of Prom biography seems to have disappeared around that time. And we can see the depopulation of Buddha and the unuse of the Makaya text. So no one knows about the Makaya text anymore. The persecution of famous Lanna monks. Some of the monks, for example, like Kruvasi Vichai, I look at his manuscript. He also practiced Bolan Kamatan and with an emphasis on Buddha Kuna. So he's one of the monks being persecuted, for example. And around the same time, we have the Sotarat collection. So basically, some monks are trying to, they know that materials might be disappearing. They're trying to collect materials from everywhere, from the north, from Laos, from central Thailand, bring them together in Sotarat's collection. Okay, so I'm sort of, I think, have sort of covered. So there are other texts which I don't think I have enough time to look in detail today. So for example, this is later Ayutthaya text from Vatrudo Somtam. We have Yokavachara, who knows that the Makaya is located within the boundary of the mind, a hypothesis of all beings. Yokavachara then intends to focus on the cultivation of Vipassana Yan with an intention to invoke Dhammakaya. So again, we can see a kind of text expressing intention of what to achieve the actual subject that they want to achieve in their experience. Okay, so just to show you quickly that there are several ways how to practice Buddha Guna. It's not just visualizing. Some practitioners in the past using sacred lesser as syllabus. So they visualize syllabus and visualize them in the body, and they do it. So this is Itipiso Bhagava. So they can do it in different order. So instead of Itipiso Bhagava, they can do like Itso. So they can skip. Okay, so anyway, my time is running out, 1 minute left. So what I've done so far, I'm talking about Buddha Guna, same as part of meditation cycle. I cover Sukh tradition for beginners level. King Taksin, who saw the Buddha. Lanna materials, we say that Buddha Guna is practiced at beginner and advanced level, both Samatha and Vipassana. And we see Ayutthaya text, seeing Dhammakaya and Vipassana. We see the litany being used to express wishes to visualize the Buddha, and in Lanna case Dhammakaya, the Buddha emerging, and we see the structure, the Buddha Guna having standard formats, but starting with Piti and Buddha Guna, we have Dhammakaya text and litany, Itipiso Bhagava, for example, to recollect the virtues and characteristics of the Buddha. And we have in Lanna tradition, Dhammakaya as living entity within the Buddha, for example. And from a historical point of view, so just trying to say that there used to be a kind of popularity of Buddha Guna at royal court level in from 16th to 18th century, and then once Lanna merged into Siam, everything seemed to be stopping. There's kind of suppression of culture, Lanna culture, and meditation focusing on Buddha Guna, and the term Prom disappear, the Dhammakaya text no longer exists, etc. Okay, thank you so much for listening to my talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so interesting to hear how buddhānussati is used throughout the whole level of art. I found it. I just wanted to get in a quick question, which is the status of the Lakkhana Sutta. This is a text which has the 32 marks of the Buddha, and it uses physical marks which seem to suggest the Dhammakaya. And I wondered where the Lakkhana Sutta is seen, for instance, like the eyes that are very blue because they have strong metta, or the long fingers and toes, I think, for helping people. And there's a kind of whole fluid range of aspects associated with each mark, which seem to me to be both Dhammakaya and Rupakaya. And I wondered where it was allocated in the tradition. Is it regarded as the body of the Buddha or the Dhammakaya of the Buddha, the list of the 32 marks?
Okay, so basically the list of the 32 marks, Lakkhana Dhamma, so basically they just represent the Buddha as having punya, having punya, that's why they have 32 marks physically, but the Dhammakaya is not a lot to do with physical, it's more to do with the qualities of the Buddha, like omniscience, those sort of things.
Okay,
so basically what I said.
So it's the more abstract qualities which are in the Dhamma.
Qualities. So that's why the practitioners have to use them together. Combining.
They combine them both.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just that seems some abstract qualities in the 32 marks, but it probably just moves in that direction. Thank you. Yeah.
From the point of view of painting the body of the Buddha, if you have the appearance of marks, then they can't not have an appearance in terms of the practice of the Dhammakaya. So there's no difference between the marks appearing and the actual practice, because without the practice, without the Dhammakaya, there's no marks.
Mm.
So it's.
There is a fluid relationship in, yeah.
There's no separation between the two.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Yes.
Thank you very much for your fascinating talk.
Mm.
It's just something you said in passing that struck me. You mentioned seeing Nirvana at the level of the name. And I was wondering what that means. Does it mean that Nirvana is represented visually in some way, or does it mean that seeing, like the verb seeing, is then being used in an abstract or metaphorical sense?
Okay, so basically this coming from the manuscript that King Taksin he has worked on. So it's not the manuscript that I work on, but basically according to him is something that in the level when practitioner practice, they can see nirvana at the level in the center. Yeah, that's according to his translation of the text. Yeah.
Thank you. Peter Harvey, Professor Peter Harvey's got a question here. Would you like to go? Peter? Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned omniscience a few times, and it's not one of the 9 Buddha gunas in the Itipiso. Is it linked to one of the 56 syllables of the Itipiso?
Yes, I think when it is so, when they use, they can expand it. They can expand it to be 56.
Yeah. So it's one of those. It's connected to one of the 56 syllables.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, they're connected.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think we can do one more.
Oh, yes.
Actually, the buddhānussati is one of the 4 protective meditations or chaturarakhas. Then one should practice buddhānussati to protect his mind from the defilements. Basically, what do you mean that by comparing this building Dhammakaya and protecting the mind? How we can combine these 2 concepts together?
Sorry, to be honest, I don't know how to answer the question, but I did actually see one of the manuscript called the Chaturak. I can't remember the title, but exactly this, and is used a kind of Buddha guna as well, and there are some link to Lanna tradition as well, and it's being, I think, if I remember correctly, it's in Thai script, and it's in Myanmar. In after Myanmar.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we have to stop there. Yes. I have some more questions, but I'll catch you later. Thank you very much.